So, hi
Yes.
Siddhant, could you give a brief introduction about yourself?
Hi, sir. Hi, everyone. I am Siddhant Raturi, originally from Dehradun, but I live in Dubai, and I have completed my education here as well. My subjects were English as a compulsory language, along with psychology, commerce, economics, and accounts. And I was a part of JSS International School.
All right, and you scored 99 in psychology, right?
Yes, sir.
Right. So you're in Dubai studying ISC. There was unfortunately an attack right around boards in Dubai in your country. So did that affect your prep? How did you cope with it?
Now, when this chaotic situation came about, I had only one exam left, and my attention and focus completely shifted from boards to whatever was happening. I had Twitter open 24/7. I had the news open 24/7, checking channels, what's happening. And I wasn't able to give even 10% of attention to boards. I completely dropped all my books and everything because in a situation like this, it's only obvious that the boards, like there's more life outside the books. So yeah, I was not able to focus at all, and eventually my boards, the remaining board, did get cancelled for all the exams, all boards across the Middle East.
Okay. So basically, how did you cope with that pressure too? Since I just want to confirm your psychology exam did happen or was it cancelled too?
Yes, it did happen. Psychology was the first exam that happened for me,
Right. So the
so it did.
psychology exam, was it a little bit more difficult than you expected? Was the paper easy or was it more difficult?
I would say it was not easy at all, not one bit. Not only me, but even my friends, we were expecting the paper to be like a specimen, like really easy, just really calm. But after the paper discussing answers, we realized we all of us had written really, really different answers because we interpreted the questions in different ways. And maybe that's the competency based questions they were talking about. And the paper was really, really hard. And I think the hardest paper I gave this year was the psychology paper.
Okay. And just to, let the other students also get to know a bit about you. So, what kind of a student are you? Do you study from day one, start a week before the exam, a night before? Basically, take us through what your prep looked like throughout your grade 12. What was your routine? Any resources that you used? What were your revision cycles?
Okay, so I was this type of student that would be outside whenever I can. I would go to every plan. I would say yes to every plan, go outside, take a lot of rest days. But I balanced that out with heavy study sessions, which were like 2 to 3 hour long, 2 to 3 hours long, sorry. And I would take an hour break in between. It was really, it looks like a chaotic schedule, but it worked for me. And I would say you just need to find that balance. For me, it was like living my life as much as I could, and balancing that out with complete focus when I study. Complete utter focus, no distractions, phone outside, no one in my room, and that's what worked for me. Now, I would like to say what works for someone else wouldn't necessarily work out for me, and what works for me wouldn't necessarily work out for you. So you have to give that time and figure it out. Other than that, resources were well, until I found your channel, I relied on textbooks. I relied on videos online, which were on specific theories or topics, and also PPTs in between that teachers would send. My revision cycles, I didn't really have a revision cycle. Well, lighter revision never worked for me. It was more like a, a proper study session. So I would start from scratch, each chapter, each subject, and so that I get an in-depth what do you say an in-depth journey through each chapter once again, and that's what works for me.
Right, that's great. So basically, when you were in 11th, there weren't many resources available, or did you actually find that many resources that you were able to score high in 11 too?
11th, I did not score high at all. It might have been around 89 or something like that because there was no channel online. I am a completely YouTube person. I study with online lectures because I find them really flexible. But resources mainly were my textbook and PPTs that teachers would send. I don't recall solving any papers in 11th though, but yeah, that's basically it. Textbook, PPTs, videos online, but they were just specific topic related videos and not a complete guide on a chapter.
Right. How did your prep then shift from scoring 89 in 11th and then scoring 99 in 12th?
So the seriousness does kick in eventually. Till October, though, I did have a really flexible study schedule. Well, it wasn't a schedule at all. I would study a few days prior to the exam, and the score was average. It ranged from 70 to 80. But after October, the shift came where I started developing proper schedules. I would never set a time. I would just mark out days with chapters on them and never set a time. Whenever I felt like studying and I had the focus and willpower to, I would sit down for a good 2 to 3 hours and I would play a lecture of yours along with making notes and reading through the notes, maybe going through the textbook once in a while. Uh, and then, yeah, so I would start around 2 p.m., late afternoon, and the study sessions would go on till 2 a.m. But keep in mind, I used to take luxury breaks. I would take 30 to 1 hour breaks, 30 minutes to 1 hour breaks. And that's what kept me sane during all the studying.
Right. So rewards are as important as studying, basically. Is that right?
Yes, yes, it is, absolutely.
So when did you actually come across the ISC Guide channel? What were you searching for? Did you find what you were searching for from this channel?
Uh, as I recall, I had a lot of backlog in school. I'd missed two chapters, which were lifespan development and psychological disorders. And this was because of all the competitions, council, and everything. And when I came across your channel, you had only two videos on psychology, which was intelligence and personality, I believe. And I did not watch those videos in the beginning because I was only trying to cover up my backlog. Eventually, though, I came back to your channel, and when I had to revise for the exam, I loaded up your videos, which were around an hour or two long, and they did wonders. They did all the help that notes and the textbook weren't able to do at all. Oh, I'm so sorry about the
No
uh,
worries.
Yeah, so I came across your channel in the beginning for backlog, and later I used it to do my in-depth study sessions. So I would load up your video, I would take a notebook and my textbook, highlighting, making notes, watching your videos, sometimes playing it backwards and memorizing. So yeah, I sat for a good amount of time with your videos. Yeah.
That's great. I'm so glad I could help in your journey. So scoring
Mhm.
99 in psychology, that's a huge achievement. So do you regret losing that 1 mark? Are you grateful? And where do you think you lost that 1 mark in your paper?
Okay, so I wasn't expecting to score a 99, and I am extremely grateful for scoring it. I would have been happy with a 92, 93 as well, because that is what I was expecting. But where I think I lost it would have been either an MCQ or an assertion reasoning, or there was this Eric Erickson's question where I had to identify the
Right.
conflict. I think I might have gone wrong there because each of those conflicts gave me three answers in my mind. So I had to do like a eeny meeny miny mo and figure out which one matched perfectly, and that's how I fit and matched the conflicts. But I think I might have gotten one or two wrong. Yeah,
Well, I can assure you, you weren't alone in getting that Eric Erickson's question wrong. So many students got
yeah,
it wrong this year.
yeah, it's really confusing.
Right. So again, just scoring 99, that does, even scoring above 90, I'd say it requires a skill in writing answers. It basically means that you know what the examiners want. What do you think that the examiners actually want out of answers? What did you discover in your prep?
Uh, at the end of the day, you realize that the examiners are also human beings. And just as students find it really monotonous to go through textbooks again and again, the examiner would obviously find it hard to go through thousands or 100,000 papers of just one subject. So, me personally, I would keep my answers really concise and short, straight to the point. I use bullet points, I use boxes, I did not do any diagrams though. I think I didn't opt for any questions with a diagram, nor were there any asked. But I might have made a flowchart for one of the questions. Might have been a four marker though. And yeah, so what you have to focus on firstly is cleanliness. One way you can do that is what I did. I used to draw a line after each answer that I wrote, and you can also do a double line after each sub answer that you write. It's totally up to you. It just makes it look very presentable. You can underline a few words. Me personally, I didn't do that. I didn't want it looking shabby. My handwriting is really bad. I can't read it myself. So yeah, just focus on cleanliness and focus on concise answers and up to the point. To the point, neat and concise.
Okay. And which chapter did you think was, the most underestimated one? You thought, maybe ये इतने marks का नहीं आएगा, but it did come for that many marks. Or also tell us about your favorite chapters, the chapters you dread.
Chapters I dread, psychological disorders. I think there's a lot to remember. That was also one of the backlogged chapters for me. But I would say the most underestimated was psychology and the environment. It had the greatest weightage this year, and that too for being one of the shortest and easiest chapters. And I would say personality was really underestimated as well. Eric Erickson's question was there.
Right.
Then there were a few four markers as well for personality. So I would say, yeah, personality and psychology and the environment were the most underestimated for this year. And personally, I found psychological disorders the hardest to learn and to memorize.
Right. And we are seeing a trend from the council that they're shifting towards more application-based questions. So most people get those wrong and they are having a very hard time getting any questions in those right. So I had many students reaching
Absolutely.
out to me, not being able to figure out what exactly that they need to write in application-based questions. So how did you deal with those? How did you tackle them?
Now, I feel like for those type of questions, you need to see that they're they test your understanding and your opinion at the same time, I believe. So now what I would look at it when I'm writing an application based question is I'm thinking about my opinion on the case study. So I'm thinking that what knowledge do I have and how can I use that to explain or understand the case study myself. And I feel like there's no there's no boundary to the answer. You can write it from like how you feel, what you feel the answer might be. And I think you can score marks that way as well, because there can sometimes the questions are up to interpretation. And like this paper itself, some questions did seem like there could be more answers. But yeah, I feel like your opinions do matter in these type of questions. And as long as you have a stronger opinion and you know how to articulate your answer really well, then you're good to go.
Absolutely agree. And how do you cope with exam pressure overall? Were you nervous going into the exam?
Uh, Compared to 10th grade, I would say lesser this year, but psychology was my first exam. Pressure does catch up, yes. But how I keep myself sane is I ask myself what I'm scared of, whether it's my marks, whether it's comparison from people, whether it's remarks from teachers. And I sit with myself because I realize that worrying isn't going to help me score better. So I would take that time, sit alone. I would give my time to release. Then I would jump back into studying. I've seen people, they try to ignore their anxiety, they try to ignore themselves and their stress. They try to push through studying, but I would not suggest that at all. It just slows you down, it burns you out even quicker. So I would say releasing all that anxiety and stress in a safe environment and then jumping back into studying would be the best option you've got.
Okay. And imagine this, all right? You get the psychology paper, for example, in your hand. You read the questions and you see that you don't know two or three of them. You were expecting to score really well, but then all the negative thoughts come into your mind, they flood in, and you start doubting your prep. So, how do you cope with that? How do you write answers that you know that you did not study and still manage to score or salvage some marks?
Okay, on a lighter note, the first thing I would do if I saw a question I have no idea about, I would try to find a hint on the question paper itself. But again, I wouldn't advise just doing that straight away. Read the question, give it 1 minute. That's what I did. I would give it a minute. I think I got stuck on the Eric Erickson's question. So I would give it a minute or two and just close my eyes, think about whether I know it or not. And when you close your eyes, you see that the your body starts to calm itself down. So these negative thoughts you're talking about, they didn't come to me at all for any exam. I was really calm for psychology, especially, even though it was the hardest paper. I was really calm, and I would just think if I'm unable to recall, then I would skip it. I would attempt the rest of the paper, either leave space, or what I did for a few papers is if I forgot to leave space, I would write a small note and I would say question number blank attempted at the end of the paper. So that's what I would do. And it's totally all right if you don't know an answer. It's you just write what you know best. Sometimes you do get marks for writing, and sometimes, I mean, it's obvious you're gonna get a zero if you leave it blank. So that's pretty much it.
Okay. If you could go back in time, what advice would you give to your younger self? Basically, at the start of grade 11, maybe.
Grade 11. I feel like uh, I don't have really psychology related advice, but I would say don't compromise on your health. That's what I did. I lost track and I lost a grip on my health, physical, mental. Don't do that at all. Keep in mind that you're taking enough rest. Keep in mind that you're having good nutrition. I lost track of my nutrition completely. I was stress eating, eating junk food a lot. Um, Fruits, I would never eat any fruits or take care of my health, take care of sleep. I slept really less during when both came about, and that's the only advice I would give. Take care of your health and start planning beforehand because you don't realize how fast time goes. And within a snap, it went from April to October, and then I realized like, oh, I have barely 3 months to prepare, and then I had to strap it all up and then heavy study sessions, everything. Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all the advice I give.
Okay. So, may I ask what you are planning to do after 12th now? Are you planning to go abroad to the US, UK? What's your plan? What degree or what major are you pursuing?
So I've taken admission into a college in Pune, and I'll be doing a BBA, most probably in digital marketing or advertising and branding. And I will be keeping psychology as a minor, as they have given me the option. Career wise, I have no idea where I'm going yet. I'll be completely frank, but I do know where my interests lie. And abroad, I have avoided because for a lot of reasons. There's first of all, I feel like the exposure you get abroad, I've already gotten living in Dubai. There is always room for more, but I would like to connect to my roots as well. That's mainly why I'm going to India. And yeah, that's it. BBA digital marketing, India. That's all.
That's very exciting. What was one major mistake that you made in grade 12, if you think that you did?
Major mistake. I would say in grade 12, I give a lot of time to competitions, extracurriculars, council, and everything. I would say students, if you can possibly get done with that or get done with 80% of that in 11th grade. If you have any internships, I did an internship in 12th grade. You could utilize your 11th grade time for that internship or any of those extracurriculars that you have, competitions, be heavy in competitions, live your life in 11th, and maybe be more academically orientated in 12th. But yeah, that's the only mistake I made.
Right. Is there any other advice that you'd like to give to your juniors?
Uh, I would like to repeat that one thing I said earlier. What works for someone else won't necessarily work for me. What works for me necessarily won't work out for other students. It if you're willing to give yourself that time and figure yourself out and know what type of a student you are, it will do wonders to you. It will help you a lot. Like personally, I'm a night owl. I study in the night a lot. I get complete focus in the night. But maybe that's not the case for you. Maybe you like waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning. Figure yourself out when you have the time and while you have the time because you won't realize how fast time will go. and don't lose a grip on your health. Just please, please, please keep focus on your health as well, along with academics. And yeah, all the best. That's all I have to say.
All right. Thank you so much, Siddhant, for volunteering. I'm sure all of your
So much, sir.
juniors were glad that you could do this. I'm certainly glad. You were very eloquent, and it was a pleasure speaking to you.
Thank you so much, sir, and thank you so much for all the help you've given. I've watched all your videos around like 4 or 5 times, so it kept like keep making notes, keep watching, in-depth studying, all of that.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm so grateful for your support.
I'm
So,
so grateful as well, sir.